the 17th century, a world on edge. The balance of power was delicate and empires were constantly vying for dominance. It was a time of great exploration, but also of great conflict. The world was changing rapidly and no one could predict what the future would hold. In the east, a giant stirred. The Ottoman Empire, with its vast territories and immense resources, was awakening to new ambitions. Its leaders were determined to expand their influence and secure their place as a dominant power. The Ottoman Empire, a vast and powerful realm. From the bustling streets of Istanbul to the serene palaces of its sultans, the empire was a blend of cultures, traditions, and innovations. It was a beacon of power and prosperity in the region. Its shadows stretched across the Mediterranean. The empire's influence was felt far and wide, from the shores of North Africa to the islands of the Aegean Sea. The Mediterranean was a vital artery for trade and military campaigns, and the Ottomans controlled much of it. From the sands of North Africa to the heart of Europe, the Ottomans had established a presence in key regions, ensuring their dominance over trade routes and strategic locations. Their reach extended into the very heart of Europe, challenging the established powers of the time. For centuries, the Ottomans had been an unstoppable force. Their military prowess was unmatched, and their armies were feared across the continent. They had a reputation for being relentless in their conquests, leaving a trail of defeated foes in their wake. Their armies a tide of conquest. The Ottoman soldiers were well-trained and highly disciplined, capable of executing complex maneuvers on the battlefield. Their cavalry in particular was renowned for its speed and effectiveness in combat. Their sultans, masters of a vast domain. The rulers of the Ottoman Empire were not just military leaders, they were also patrons of the arts, culture and science. They presided over a court that was a center of learning and innovation, attracting scholars and artists from across the world. But change was in the air. The world was not static, and the forces of history were beginning to shift. The once invincible empire was starting to show signs of strain, and new challenges were emerging on the horizon. The winds of resistance were beginning to blow. Across the empire, discontent was growing. Local populations, tired of heavy taxation and foreign rule, were starting to rise up. Rebellions and uprisings became more frequent, signaling a growing unrest. In the West, a new spirit of defiance was emerging. European powers, long wary of the Ottoman threat, began to see an opportunity. They started to form alliances and build up their own military capabilities, preparing for a confrontation that seemed increasingly inevitable. Christian Europe, long fearful of the Ottoman might, began to rally. The Church played a significant role in this resurgence, calling for a united front against the Muslim Empire. Knights and soldiers from various kingdoms answered the call, ready to defend their lands and faith. The time had come to push back against the Ottoman advance. The stage was set for a series of epic confrontations that would shape the future of Europe and the Mediterranean. The struggle between the Ottoman Empire and the rising European powers was about to reach its climax. The threat to Christendom was real. The dark clouds that loomed over the medieval European city were not just a metaphor for the weather, but a symbol of the impending danger that threatened their very existence. The townsfolk, with their worried faces, knew that their way of life was at stake. The Ottoman Empire, a powerful and expanding force, was knocking on the doors of Europe, and something had to be done to stop them. The Ottoman Empire, under the rule of Sultan Mehmed IV, was a formidable foe. Sultan Mehmed IV, known for his military prowess and strategic acumen, had led his empire to numerous victories. The Ottoman soldiers, clad in their traditional attire, were well trained and highly disciplined, making them a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Its armies were vast, its treasury overflowing. The wealth of the Ottoman Empire was legendary, with gold coins and jewels filling their coffers. This financial strength allowed them to maintain and equip a large and powerful army, capable of launching extensive military campaigns across Europe and beyond. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 still resonated. This event marked a turning point in history, as the once great city fell to the Ottomans, signaling the end of the Byzantine Empire. The ruins of Constantinople served as a stark reminder of the Ottomans' might and the potential fate that awaited other European cities if they did not act. A stark reminder of Ottoman power. The sight of Ottoman soldiers marching under their empire's flag was enough to instill fear in the hearts of many. Their relentless advance seemed unstoppable, and the need for a united response became increasingly urgent. Out of this fear, an alliance was forged, the Holy League. This coalition of European states was born out of necessity, as the threat posed by the Ottoman Empire required a collective effort to counter. Medieval diplomats representing their respective nations came together to sign treaties and form a united front against the common enemy, an alliance born of necessity. The leaders of the Holy League, each with their own motivations and interests, recognized the importance of unity in the face of such a formidable adversary. Medieval knights, symbolizing the chivalric values of the time, shook hands in a gesture of solidarity and mutual commitment to the cause. Pope Innocent XI, the spiritual leader of Christendom, called for a united front. His impassioned speeches and diplomatic efforts were instrumental in rallying the various European states to join the Holy League. As the spiritual leader, he emphasized the religious significance of the struggle, framing it as a battle to protect the Christian faith from the encroaching Ottoman forces. The Kingdom of Poland, a bastion of Catholicism in the east, heeded the call. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, with its strong military tradition and strategic position, played a crucial role in the alliance. Their soldiers, known for their bravery and skill, were ready to defend their homeland and the broader Christian world from the Ottoman threat. King John III Sobieski, a warrior king, pledged his support. Known for his military leadership and tactical genius, King John III Sobieski was a key figure in the Holy League. His commitment to the cause and his ability to inspire his troops made him an invaluable ally in the fight against the Ottomans. The Republic of Venice, with its maritime power, joined the fight. Venice, a major naval power, brought its formidable fleet to the alliance. Their ships, essential for controlling the seas and disrupting Ottoman supply lines, added a crucial dimension to the Holy League's military capabilities. The Habsburg monarchy, led by Emperor Leopold I, stood ready. The Habsburgs, with their extensive territories and resources, were a significant force within the Holy League. Emperor Leopold I, determined to protect his realm and uphold the Christian faith, mobilized his soldiers for the impending conflict. A clash of civilizations was about to unfold. The stage was set for a monumental confrontation between the forces of the Holy League and the Ottoman Empire. This clash, driven by a complex mix of religious, political, and cultural factors, would shape the course of history and determine the future of Europe. Europe held its breath. The fate of Christendom hung in the balance. Could this fragile alliance of nations stand against the might of the Ottoman Empire? The answer would come soon enough. In 1683, the Ottoman army, under the command of Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha, marched on Vienna, the heart of the Habsburg Empire, the prize that would cement Ottoman dominance in Europe. The Siege of Vienna began. The Ottomans, with an army that dwarfed the city's defenders, laid siege. Vienna, a city under siege, fought with the courage of desperation. The walls of Vienna shuddered under the relentless bombardment. Day and night, the Ottoman cannons roared. Each explosion brought the city closer to the brink. Inside the city, hope dwindled with each passing day. Section 5. A King Rides Forth. In the annals of history, few moments stand as tall as the day King John III Sobieski rode forth to meet his destiny. The air was thick with tension, the fate of nations hanging by a thread. The city under siege was on the brink of collapse, its defenders weary and hope dwindling. But from the east, a savior approached. As the siege wore on, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. The besieged city, surrounded by the relentless forces of the Ottoman Empire, had been holding out for weeks. Supplies were running low, and morale was at an all-time low. The defenders looked to the horizon, praying for a miracle. From the east, an army approached. It was not just any army, but a coalition of forces united under a single banner. The banners fluttered in the wind, and the sound of marching feet echoed like a drumbeat of hope. At the forefront of this mighty force was a figure that would become legendary. At its head rode King John III Sobieski of Poland. His presence was commanding, his resolve unshakable. Clad in armor that gleamed in the sunlight, he was a sight to behold. His eyes were set on the besieged city, and his heart burned with the desire to liberate it. A master of cavalry warfare, Sobieski was renowned for his strategic brilliance and his ability to inspire his troops. His cavalry, the famed Polish winged hussars, were the epitome of martial prowess. With their distinctive wings and unparalleled skill, they were a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope for the besieged city. As news of Sobieski's approach spread, a wave of renewed hope washed over the defenders. They knew that with Sobieski leading the charge, they had a fighting chance. The king's reputation as a fearless leader and a brilliant tactician preceded him. Sobieski had answered the call to arms. He had rallied his troops, gathered allies, and marched with unwavering determination. His mission was clear: to break the siege and drive the invaders back. The stakes were high, but Sobieski was no stranger to daunting challenges. He knew that the fate of Europe hung in the balance. The Ottoman Empire's advance threatened the very heart of Christendom. Sobieski's victory would not only save the besieged city, but also send a powerful message to the world. It was a battle for the soul of Europe. His winged hussars, the finest cavalry in Europe, were eager for battle. They had trained for this moment, and their spirits were high. The sight of their king leading them into battle filled them with pride and determination. They knew that they were part of something greater than themselves. They would break the siege. With a thunderous charge, the winged hussars would shatter the enemy lines. Their speed and ferocity would be unmatched, and their resolve unbreakable. The defenders of the city watched in awe as the cavalry surged forward. They would drive the Ottomans back. The tide of battle would turn, and the besieged city would be free. King John III, Sobieski's name would be etched in history as the savior of Europe. His legacy would endure, a testament to the power of courage and leadership in the face of overwhelming odds. Section 6. The tide turns, the Battle of Vienna, a clash of titans, the fate of Europe hanging in the balance. Sobieski's arrival galvanized the defenders. The tide was about to turn. The Polish hussars, a thundering avalanche of men and horses, smashed into the Ottoman lines. The Ottoman army, caught off guard by the ferocity of the Polish attack, faltered, then broke. The Siege of Vienna was lifted. The Ottomans were in retreat. Section 7. Eugene of Savoy. A prince on the battlefield. The victory at Vienna was a turning point, a victory that breathed new life into the Holy League. The momentum was now with the forces of Christendom. New leaders emerged to carry the fight to the Ottomans. One such leader was Prince Eugene of Savoy, a brilliant military strategist, a fearless commander. Eugene would lead the Holy League to a string of victories. Section 8. The Treaty of Karlowitz, a new order. The Battle of Zenta in 1697, a resounding victory for Eugene of Savoy and the Holy League, marked the end of Ottoman dominance. The Ottomans were in full retreat. The threat to Europe had been vanquished. In 1699, the Treaty of Karlowitz was signed. It marked the beginning of a new era in European history. The Ottoman Empire, once thought invincible, had been humbled. Europe was safe for now. Section 9. Legacy of a struggle. The War of the Holy League was more than just a conflict between empires. It was a clash of cultures, of religions, of ideologies. The victory of the Holy League had profound consequences for Europe. The Ottoman Empire, weakened and in retreat, was no longer the threat it once was. Power shifted within Europe. New empires would rise. The seeds of future conflicts were sown, but for now there was peace, a hard-won peace, a peace that would reshape the destiny of Europe.